Hello everyone, my name is Ralph Peterson and I am making this quick little video as a follow-up for all the attendees who attended my keynote and workshop at Leading Age Nebraska in Kearney, Nebraska, which by the way, I must tell you, that was an amazing, super fun event. Thank you to everyone who came, everyone who shared stories and just coffee with me in the hallways and at tables, and everyone was just so warm and welcoming. I had an amazing time. And I wanted to make a quick little video to try to bridge the gap between the keynote and the workshop. We went over an awful lot of information and both. And so I wanted to try to make a very strong connection regarding the identification of a leadership system. For those who attended the workshop, you know what I mean by a leadership system. But for those who were not able to, I'm just going to try to draw it for you real quick. A leadership system is simply made of three things. There is the decision. Decision is made, which is then communicated to whoever needs to be doing the job. And it is then followed up with, you follow up, make sure the job is done or getting done, and that always triggers another decision, which then has to be communicated, which has to be followed up on, which then triggers another decision, and on and on and on and on. Again, for everyone who was in the workshop, you know what I'm talking about. I just want to demonstrate leadership, what leadership looks like on paper. But to bridge the gap between what a leadership system is and what it looks like on paper to manage on a day-to-day basis, and the keynote, I would like to draw another comparison to an iceberg. So I'm going to do another iceberg analogy. If you all remember the iceberg analogy that I did in the keynote, this here is the waterline. And anytime we're talking about icebergs and analogies, the one thing I want to point out is the thing about an iceberg, the only thing people see of an iceberg is anything above the waterline. Has to be above the waterline in order for it to be seen. And for our purposes, everything above the waterline is what our customer sees. It's actually not only what our customer sees, but it's what our customer experiences, because they have no ability to see below the waterline. So the question is, what is below the waterline? Well, it actually looks like this. So let me draw the bottom layer. This bedrock that the iceberg is on is actually your purpose. And when we're talking about purpose, we're talking about your policies and procedures. Your policies are generally your standards, the bare minimum. Our community believes in this. Our community has this kind of a standard. That's a policy and procedure. And that is the purpose, why we're in business, why you work in senior care. Right above our purpose is, of course, our staffing. And our staffing includes hiring practices, onboarding practices, and generally how we train our managers internally, train our staff internally, who we choose to work for us. And then right above the staffing line is, of course, all of our training, all of our education, our in-services, our onboarding, our competency testing, our skills testing. That's all. So this is between this is the foundation of our organization. This makes up the foundation. And between the foundation and what our customers experience, what they get up here, is our leadership system. The reason this is so important, and the reason why I wanted to make this video to demonstrate this for you, is because what I'm hoping you notice is that the leadership system is below the waterline, meaning your customers are not supposed to see your leadership system. They're not supposed to see your leadership system. And in fact, 90% of the time, there are a few times when our leadership system pops out in a positive way, but 90% of the time, most of the time, it pops out in a negative way, meaning if your customers are seeing your leadership system, it's because your leadership system isn't working. It's flawed. Something isn't working in this little leadership system. And I'm going to tell you I'll give you a great example. My wife and I just recently went to a restaurant that she absolutely loves. It's an Italian restaurant. and she loves it. We've been there a few times, and the food has always been really, really great. The atmosphere is fun. However, about a week ago, we went and they sat us in a table that was right next to this little nook carved in by the bar. We had never sat at this table before. We'd never sat this close to this little nook in the bar area. And what we learned very quickly was it was the worst place to sit as a customer, because the general manager sat in that little cubbyhole and managed aggressively. He threatened people. He threatened to terminate people. He ridiculed people. He talked behind people's back. We're talking about his staff. He's talking about how terrible that staff member is, how terrible that staff member. Like, he made the experience for us way terrible. It was, the food was not as good. And it wasn't, if we sat at a different table and we were not near and overhearing this terrible leadership system that's going on. By the way, if they're effective, I mean, he was an effective manager from the point of view that I ordered water, they got water. My wife ordered wine, she got wine. We ordered our food, the food came with no errors, right? Like, it was good. And anywhere else in the restaurant, if I was oblivious to the way that he was talking about to everybody, I would have thought that the management team here was great. Which, by the way, is all I want to believe. It's all I want to see is great management. So just keep that in mind. Leadership systems is supposed to be below the waterline. I hope this is making sense to you, and I hope you have found this helpful. I hope you found the keynote helpful and the workshop helpful. And I would love to work with you more on quality assurance. Quality assurance, performance improvement. That is my jam. If it's your jam, if you're having any kind of a struggle with it and you would like some additional help, don't be afraid to reach out to me. Make sure you subscribe and to this video, subscribe to this channel. I make videos like this all the time. Would love to keep connecting with you and staying connected with you. I'll talk to you all soon. See you guys later.